Well, it's Saturday the 21st of June, and this is episode 2515 of 301 Permanently Moved Online, a personal podcast 301 seconds in length, written, recorded, and edited by me at the JMO. Over the last few months, I've been having a conversation with someone about why, exactly, London is over / a bleak woke dystopia has become a big talking point on the right. For many, London, in their imaginary, is some kind of end times mashup of Blade Runner, stabbings, TikTok teens in ramen restaurants, and roads blocked permanently by Just Stop Oil. A view that, when interrogated, I think tells us more about life outside the capital than about the city itself. First, a confession. The biggest burst of dislocation I have felt about the decline of this country was not on a night bus through Central, but back home in Thanet. Its seaside towns full of boarded shops, chain coffee shops, and disappearing bus routes. Over Easter, a family friend, retired, muttered over a mug of tea that the town had tipped into violence. No police and no manners. Later, walking in the old town, 2 cars locked bumpers. Drivers were out, shouting, slapping bonnets, and passers-by joined in. The next day, through a restaurant window, I watched a BMW cut off a young couple crossing the road. One pedestrian shouted, and the driver hit the brakes and got out, forehead to forehead with the guy shouting, "You want some?" A lorry driver, stuck, ended up getting out and playing referee until the driver moved on. My parents say that these flare-ups are now routine. Right now, at home, there's a dispersal order in place after a brawl in the same street, throwing bottles and smash windows. Yet flip on the news and this sort of mayhem is always somewhere else. A stabbing in Hackney followed by a clip of Sadiq Khan looking concerned. An age-based curfew is almost unimaginable in London, but they have been normal outside the M25 for decades. If life already feels precarious on your own high street, then London must seem 10 times worse. London is over is a narrative fault line. English culture has never quite trusted the capital. Blame Hogarth, blame the Victorian penny dreadfuls, blame Dickens if you like. The metropolis plays villain because stories need a face, and London, unlike a declining business park in Essex, is a ready-made psychic landmark, as in its diverse population, and the scene is set, a convenient other to shoulder the nation's anxieties. Yes, London has some grim statistics, but so do Glasgow, Manchester, Nottingham. Yet overall, crime is down. Meanwhile, rural crime costs farmers millions, and emergency response times in the sticks are way up, and deaths of despair peak in coastal towns. Plus, you don't get regular mass brawls on the beach in London. The countryside and suburbs, in my opinion, just fails to film well. Distance matters, but cameras matter more. I made an episode 5 years ago about how the media need to get outside of London, and it's more urgent than ever. Camera crews can reach Soho in 20 minutes, but they need hours and a packed lunch to get to Eastbourne, so the capital always wins for airtime. Older boomers, more rural with patchier broadband, absorb a loop of London violence on TV, whilst younger users in the city watch something else online. Auntie May in the village watches the BBC at 6 PM and scrolls Facebook between her soaps, and the algorithm serves her the same knife attack clip twice. Back in the 70s, Gerbner called this mean world syndrome. The more TV you swallow, the nastier the world looks. In Britain in 2025, the mean world is in our pockets, with us all the time. And the villains are migrants, eco-warriors, gender-neutral baristas. But strip those urban images away, and the anxiety beyond the screen has nowhere to land in the shires. Projection does useful work. If your GP's down to 1 doctor, the last bank replaced by a Costa, and there's an hour's wait for an ambulance, it's neater to insist that things must be worse in London. So a loop forms, rural unease fuels anti-city talk. National media pumps London footage, Facebook pages and YouTubers monetize the churn. The capital's imperfections, annex migrants, become catch-all explanations. Strangers sell stories, and London has a big cast. Racial characters are handed an old script. Once it was the gin-soaked mother. Today it's the second-gen teens with Caribbean or Somali roots. The same scaffold, the same role. London isn't a paradise. It's expensive, noisy, and very unequal. But the portrayal of the capital collapsing under the weight of rainbow flags and vegan burgers is theatre. Meanwhile, the real rot nibbles away in places where the buses stop at 8 PM and the mobile signal dies in the high street. Politicians know this, and Take Back Our Streets polls very well with over 55s. But the problem is, they only ever visit the shopping centre, out of town. If we insist on villains, let's try to choose systemic ones. Underfunded services, hollowed out local economies, first past the post in local government. Blaming London, or the people who give it its colour, is as empty as shouting at the sea. It fills airtime, but it changes nothing on the ground. I'm not sure what to do about it, but I do think that if you start looking around at your own high street, instead of across at the city's dark and ominous skyline, the fear will fade, because the real work, as ever, begins at home.